I remember it vaguely as a little kid in those days, but a lot of our audience probably couldn't appreciate what the Martin and Lewis frenzy was. In pictures, in the big clubs in Vegas where the biggest stars in show business would clamor to just be in the audience. That's how hot it was. And then after almost exactly 10 years to the day, from the forming of the partnership in 1956, it's dissolved.
July 25th.
And as you write about it in your autobiography, you tried to end it with an expression of emotion. And he was kind of cold.
He was really shook, but Dean's upbringing was such that he was able to, he had a wonderful facade. He was able to cover that. When he and I were alone, totally alone, he would drop the facade and you would see the depth and the sensitivity and all of the things that made him a powerful man. But he was taught that that is not the way to go. So the facade he had built up is usually what people see with Dean. But he was shattered at the end of it, and so was I. But it had to be, because we knew, both of us knew, that it was time. I remember using a very important sports example to Dean when I said to him, there was nothing more painful for me, loving sports as much as I do, than watching Joe Louis go through the ropes that last fight.
Marciano.
If he would have just quit one fight sooner so that he could have gone out that great champion, to watch him go through the ropes, and I said to Dean, let's not let them see us go through the ropes. Let's walk away with the belt.
So it was just a sense that the thing had peaked and now was the time. It wasn't an incident.
We knew it was time. And we sat down like in March of that year and said, let's not get knocked through the ropes. So we put an end to it with the last commitment we had, which would be the Copa New York, closing the 25th of July, 1956.
For 20 years, until Sinatra brings him out on one of the telethons, for 20 years, this is perceived as a feud. They don't talk to each other.
No,
there's no contact.
We didn't talk to each other, not because of any other reason than Dean is a recluse. His lifestyle is such that he really enjoys it that way. And I would never impose upon him by bothering that reclusivity, if there's such a word. And if I was in trouble, he'd have been the first one there, and vice versa.
To go 20 years, not communicate, I assume no season's greetings at Christmas or Hanukkah, no nothing.
We didn't do that when we were partners.
Never once a phone call, nothing.
Not in 20 years, no.
There had to be ill feelings then.
Well, you have, I guess it's like a divorce. It's, you know, I don't believe the man and woman that were married that get divorced and say, but we're now wonderful friends. Yeah, here, I'll give you wonderful friends. There is no such thing as wonderful friends. Why don't you stop playing with yourself?
Did you get that? See, these guys tend to fall asleep on this show. You just cut it here, you cut it here, all of a sudden you got an action shot.
Want it again? Here. But with age, and again with wisdom, you start to really count your chips. And what happened in '76, when Frank surprised me on the telethon, the look in Dean's eyes told me the whole story. And what he saw on my face after we talked later, he saw the whole story.
I have a friend who loves what you do every year and who just wanted to come out and say, would you send my friend out, please? Where is he? Would you send him out here? Come here.
I was the only one that didn't know. If you look at the video and you stop frame, just look at my face. It's right in the eyes. And then we talked after that. And I've seen him a number of times after that. Then when Dino was in the horrible accident,
his son,
it was the apple of his eye, we talked at length. We probably talked more after the funeral than we did in the 10 years, if you can imagine that long a discussion. It was sensitive. It was a man that lost something vital in his life, and he wasn't about to talk to anyone about it, but he did talk to me about it. And it was very meaningful to both of us. And that was good. It was good.
Good to hear that, because there was a story that even after the emotional reunion on the telethon in '76, that you were moved enough to send him a handwritten note, had it hand-delivered to be sure to get to him.
Right.
No response.
That's Dean. That's okay.
You sent him some sort of coin as a
He
memento.
got it.
No response.
That's Dean. That's okay. I love him unconditionally. He's not rude, and he just doesn't happen to believe in the social graces. But if you know that, when you send it, you don't expect anything to happen. He got my letter. He got the gift. That's fine. But you have to know somebody. Some people, all of a sudden, turn off all of their love for what? Because they didn't take the time to recognize, here is somebody that's entitled to live their life the way they choose to live it. And you must respect that. This character was so ugly and was so full of venom, and I wrote this character. And I'll tell you where I got him from. I got him from the anti-Semite. I got him from the racist. I got him from the people on a bus that won't get up for a lady. I got him from a cheat. I got him from a guy that don't pay his debts. I got him from everything that's ugly. I got him from a guy that says the only reason I told my kid he was adopted was to keep him on his toes. I took every ugly aspect of everything I can remember seeing and wrote him into this one character. That was what I wrote. Because he happened to look like, I was shocked when some of the kids loved the character. We'd get mail for Buddy Love that they loved the character. I was in shock. I shot everything of the professor first and placed everything with Buddy Love at the end of the production. When I ran out of everything to shoot, I finally got into that makeup and played that character, that ugly son of a bitch. No, that couldn't be anywhere near the guy that I love.
What'll it be?
Aw, that's no way to talk. What'll it be? That's no way to treat a customer. Come here, try it like this. Pay attention, you'll feel better and the customers will be happier. Try this. What'll it be? Try that. Come on, we haven't got all night. Try it.
What'll it be?
Good, that was wonderful. Did anyone ever tell you you couldn't sing? Nice. Make me an Alaskan polar bear heater on a double. Come on, come on.
Do you buy into the general notion that the funniest people have some deep and lasting pain?
Sure.
That all comedy comes from pain?
You bet. Absolutely.
What is it for you then?
Well, I think that we all begin, those of us who had to borrow white ducks to graduate in, because that was the nature of a poor family. If you don't turn that into laughter, you could die standing on those steps at PS 156 and taking your graduation picture. When there's a hole in the back of the heel of your sock and you're wearing your cousin's white ducks, if you don't turn that into humor, pal, you'll be the only one in the picture that's leaning over. So you turn it into humor. You don't let the guy take the picture right now. You make one crazy sound so that everyone breaks up. And when kids laugh and they bend over or they put their hands on their mouth, they won't shoot the picture. And you get through it that way.
Now, eventually, does that become craft and you can still do it even after the pain is gone?
The pain almost has to be there, I think. I think you have to almost nurture it to stay there. Keep it at a minimum if you can. It's like I once was recommended, right after Dina and I split, I was recommended to see a very, very good analyst in Beverly Hills to help me work my way through this, to understand this. And I went to see him, and he said, you know, of course, that you're going to heal yourself. That's what psychiatry is. I'm just going to be a monitor. And I felt terribly uncomfortable. And I said, I don't know that I need any healing, doctor, and I don't know that I really need someone to tell me how to work through this, but I do know something that I realized sitting here. I have a feeling if you help me find out that I don't have any pain, I ain't never going to be funny again. I can't take that chance. Please send the bill to my office. Thank you, and I left. He called me at my office the following day and said, "Who said you didn't heal yourself?"
I hope you all tune in to Bob Costas on Later every night this week. You know the guests he has: Ruby Keeler, Helen O'Connell, Phyllis Calvert, Bert Stern, Herman Deckick, Liffey Bush, Mool Duman, and Helen Ake.
It's a hell of a week.
It's
See you
a hell
later.
of a promo.